Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk more about VOD reviewing your games and how to find your own issues without needing someone else to tell you or getting coaching or whatever else. So I'm going to be reviewing two gold players. One is going to be a Twitch ADC and one is going to be gold Evelyn. And we're just gonna look at the VODs real quick and try to figure out, okay, so what can we figure out here, right? And how would we approach reviewing this if we were the player in question, right? So first of all, obviously, when we go into a review, we want to have a good mentality, and that would be assuming that you are pretty much wrong, or at least didn't play optimally, or did stuff wrong. And that way, you will only ever be surprised if you realize, well, I actually couldn't do anything here. But you will find mistakes much more easily and be much more accountable for the mistakes you do make. So that's important because you need to take responsibility for your own mistakes. And if you don't, then it's going to be pretty hard to improve. Okay, let's see. I didn't look at these VODs before, so it should be interesting. Okay, so what are the matchups? Okay, so here we have Twitch Lulu and we have Vayne Pyke, right? So we want to figure out what is our strength, right? And what is enemy strength, right? So our strength is like an extended fight where we get to like hit the enemy, right? Poking them, like hitting them, like abusing our range. And their strength is all-inning us and just blowing one of us up, right? So, okay, that's pretty cool. But these strengths, they mean something, right? They mean that each of us has a problem and there needs to be some kind of a solution to that problem, right? So their problem is that they need to somehow hook us, not get poked, to sustain up, you know, like stuff like that. And our problems are stuff like, well, we need to not get hooked, we need to poke them down, we need to not get ganked, we need to whatever, right? Like, let's say it like that. So if we look at this, we arrive to lane, right? And okay, let's just say that we're like playing our lane and we think like, okay, this is like whatever, fine. We're like learning about wave management and whatever, but that's fine. We're not really here to like solve that, but okay, so we get hooked and then we are like fighting. And then, we die. Okay, so let's break it down. What really happened here? Let's see. So after Pyke loses his hook, we're committing to a trade, but then Pyke E's us, okay. Then we used E before we had full stacks, while exhausted, and used our potion late, and then we died. So what was really the problem here, right? There are a few ways to like think of this problem, but basically the problem is we get all in, right? So what can we do to avoid it? So there are a few things that we can do when we're trying to avoid an all-in like this, right? Like, first of all, if we think that this is a good fight, right? Then what is the issue with us just flashing this? Is there an issue with that, right? Like, because, okay, here, wait. So if we go back here, when we got like hooked or whatever, I think we got hooked, right? So we see Vayne has W level 1. Then we see she has Q, so she doesn't have E. So if we flash right now into Vayne, right? What can she do? Pretty much nothing. Like, we will just hit her, and she has to like flash away and hope that she gets away. But then if she runs away completely, then she's kind of selling her support, who has only Q and E, and both of them are on cooldown. So maybe that could be an option, right? Or maybe we just stand our ground and fight it. That's also an option, right? What is our solution? Because not every solution has to be the optimal solution. That's the thing. When we're like coaching and reviewing and stuff, we try to find the most optimal solution we can see, but you don't have to always find the most optimal one. Like, there are multiple solutions to this scenario, right? So for example, there can be a solution like, okay, well, I don't think this fight is good, so I should walk back. Or there can be a solution like, okay, well, I think that if I flash and I commit to a full fight, I can win this. There can also be a solution that would be an even better solution. Like, I think that the optimal solution here is something like popping your potion and standing your ground. Then, okay, enemy is exhausted, we're exhausted, but we would have potion. And also, like, not use our E when we're exhausted, right? Like, not use E right now. Because if we, like, just keep autoing, right? Like, auto E right now would just kill, right? But instead, we get, like, traded, like this. So, we need to find what the issue is, and then we need to find what we think about it, and then we need to find a solution. And then if our solution is, like, good enough, then maybe we can use that solution from now on, right? And then next time, when we're in a situation like it, we find a new solution, maybe. Like, maybe the solution isn't good enough anymore. For example, if you play against these champions that need to set up their clear level 1, like Fiddle or Shake or something, right, in jungle, then you might think, okay, well, if I stop him from double camping the first camp, or if I break his boxes, or whatever else they might need to set up their clear, I don't know, maybe they have like a Zyra or a Heimer and you don't want them to leash well or something, and okay, that might be your solution, but then you get to a higher elo and then suddenly you play against, like, I don't know, like, let's say you play against this comp and you play against Camille, Trundle, Galio, and you're gonna get like perma CC'd for walking in, and maybe like your team will die, right? So maybe that's not such a good solution anymore. So maybe now there's like a different solution. Maybe against Fiddle, your solution now is to like level 2 or level 3 invade him, and maybe against Shaco, your solution is to, I don't know, ward like somewhere here, right? So we come up with a new way to solve the problem. You can't say though that this is also limit testing here, because limit testing is fine, but you want to have a time when you limit test and a time where you apply it. So you spend some games on your champion and your rule and all of that stuff. This is also why it's good to play like 1 or 2 champs, because you will limit test on them, you will figure out what your numbers are, what you can do, what you can't do, and then after that you can play safer and you can actually play within the limits that you've tested. And yeah, you just have to take responsibility. Like here, it would be really easy to just say, ah, well, why is my Lulu right behind me, right? Like, why is my Lulu getting CC'd? If my Lulu didn't get CC'd, we would win this easily. Or if my Lulu exhausted earlier or something, but it's just dumb, right? And useless. That would be a dumb and useless way to think about it. We wouldn't learn anything. So then when we come back to lane here, I'm like thinking, okay, well, why are we back in lane right now? Like, this is also another issue, right? Like, this is also a type of problem you should look for. Like, when I have nothing to do, or when I'm in a position that I don't like, I should ask myself, okay, so how did I arrive at this position? And what was the problem? Was the problem my fight? Was the problem my wave management? Or maybe the problem is that I should be doing something else? Or what is the issue here? And then if I figure out that the issue wasn't like me fighting or like my wave management or whatever, if I figure out that this is just how it is, okay, whatever, that's fine. But the thing is, either way, we're now in a problematic situation and we need some kind of a fix for it. So what can we do here? There's like nothing to do. So since we have nothing to do right now, maybe in most games we can look for, I don't know, a roam or something. Though it is worth noting that Twitch doesn't have Q here and his mid laner is basing, so maybe not. But I'm just trying to say. So okay, we move on, and then all in. Right. So what's the issue here, right? We look at this and we see a problem. Well, we got hooked by Pyke. Okay. So why did we get hooked by Pyke? Because we're standing in front of him. And why are we standing in front of him? Because we're trying to hit the wave. And why are we trying to hit the wave right now? So we can push. But can we do it? Well, obviously not, right? We're just relying on our mechanics to like dodge it, but not the best approach. So again, we have some kind of a problem, and we need to find something to solve it, right? So what are potential solutions? Like, okay, get back and hit the wave from range is a potential solution, right? Or it can also be like, maybe we had to do something here, right? Like maybe here, I don't know, like we do some kind of wave management before this, like now. Like at some point here, we manage the wave differently and it doesn't completely reset, and then we're not in the same position. So it's something else, I don't know. Either way, the point is that we had to play it differently, right? And then he comes back to lane, this guy. And he's like pushing, right? And you can see that the way he pushes ends up moving the line of the wave, right? Like the line of the wave moves from here to here. And now the main issue is that you need some kind of educational content, because you need to at least know what to look for, kind of, because otherwise you can just look for dumb stuff like, oh, I should have dodged that hook. Like, nah. But for example here, if they somehow got all in or they got ganked, right? Like here, okay, let's say that we have a problem, we're getting ganked and we die to gank. And what is our solution to this next time? Okay, well, the solution to this would be manage the wave better so the wave stays here and doesn't move to here, right? And if you can't find a solution to your issues, that's when either you look at better players, what they do, or you look into coaching, or you look for more educational content, or whatever else it may be. And then see, we're in the death zone. Like, okay, we're walking up to hit the tower, and Vayne is low. Okay, cool. But then, now we have a problem, we're getting ganked. So what is the solution to this problem? Right. I don't think this was a solution to this problem. Like if we stay, then how do we avoid Pike CC? Well, we can't. So the answer is just don't stay, right? Now, the question here is here we have to ask ourselves, what is our exact problem though here? Is our exact problem that we didn't know we're getting ganked? Is our exact problem that we didn't know we would die to the gank? Or is it something else, right? And then based on which problem it is, there's going to be a bit of a different solution. Like if the problem is that we didn't know we would die to the gank, then we need to think more about what the enemy has and what their champions do, right? And if we didn't know that the gank was coming, then we need to look more into the way jungle works and how we can avoid ganks and how we can track the jungler better. And the most useless thing in the world here would be to say, but the gank was so obvious, why didn't my Trundle like come here and just pillar, you know, bro? And then we would triple kill. Well, no, right? I mean, if your Trundle was challenger, he wouldn't be in gold. So, okay. And I think that's enough for this game. I think it gives you kind of an idea of what to do on lane. And then I'll look at like an Evelyn game real quick. I don't want to voice though. So okay, so we're playing against Kha'Zix and cool. So in jungle, it's like pretty much the same thing, but you can like approach it a bit differently, where you can say, for example, okay, well, I'm gonna get level 3 invaded by Kha'Zix or by Rengar or by, I don't know, Lee Sin or something. So that's my problem. What is my solution? Okay, well, I'm gonna ward like this. And if you don't know, then if you don't know like how exactly the invades work, then what you can basically... Oh, right, this is the old patch, so he can double clear. Okay. Holy fuck, I was so confused. If you don't know how the invades work, you can basically look at replays. You can look at replays and you can look at when exactly they're invading you and what HP and stuff, and you can like learn other champions HP values while clearing. You can learn their like general clear paths and when they show up where. And then when you figure out where they show up, then for example, if someone shows up at your jungle, well, in your jungle at 3 minutes, right? That means that if you ward it at 1:30 in the path that they took to get to your jungle, then that issue should be kind of solved. And then the question is just, okay, how do I play that after I know that they're here? So it's either I'm going to walk away, or I'm going to get my laner to come, or I'm going to do something else, right? That's why there can also be problems like, okay, well, they're contesting my red buff. What can I do? Right? And the answer is, okay, well, you could like skip some camps and get to the red buff first. That's like an answer, right? Then there's also the, okay, well, can my laners move? No. Okay. Can I fight them? No. Can I like clear it differently? It wouldn't be good. Okay. So we're getting to the point where we think that contesting a red buff is like impossible, right? And if we think that, then we ask ourselves, okay, so how bad is it if I lose the red buff? And what can I do to make it up? And what can I use the time that the enemy will spend taking my red buff on myself, right? So here we see, okay, so Kha'Zix killed our laner. So that's like a problem. And what is our solution to this? Well, I don't think that Mr. Man over here has a solution. But if he were reviewing the VOD, maybe he would look for one. So, okay. You might think, okay, well, what can I do here? Should I counter gank? Well, we didn't really look at the lane either, so who knows? And this laner doesn't have any wards. So that's a question, right? It looks like the laner is trying to push in. So on some champs, counter ganking could be pretty decent, but with the way that this is looking from just the minimap, I don't think that on Evelynn we want to counter gank, but pinging could have been pretty good. Though maybe we're forced to counter gank, right? Maybe. Because you do have a pretty strong laner, and they do have a pretty weak laner, so counter ganking can also be something. But that's why the problem here is, okay, well, we don't have enough information, right? The same thing can happen in bot lane. We don't have enough information. We didn't ward, or we didn't do anything, or whatever, right? No vision, no information, can't play. Sometimes there is no viable solution because something you did before makes it so you're in a position with no solutions. Okay. So our Evelynn clears. And then he's like, okay, well, what do I do now? Oh, bot lane, mid lane. Cool. Then he doesn't know what to do. Then he just messes around somewhere. So here we have a problem, right? So we're looking for these times when we time waste, and like here, walking like this is complete time waste. So we're asking ourselves, okay, well, what could we do to not waste our time? Like, our problem is that we wasted our time, so what do we do? And the answer is most likely going to be something like, well, when your spells are on cooldown, you should look at lanes, and you should already determine if you want to go there or not. And obviously, sometimes you're going to walk somewhere and the play changes, and okay, happens. But like here, we didn't really prepare for going somewhere. We just like did our camp, and then we looked at the map, and then we were like, okay, I want to do something. Then he was like, okay, well, look at bot lane. Okay, look at mid lane. What do we do? I don't know. Don't know what to do. Whatever, man. I'll just go clear. Okay, you see what I mean? And then again, enemy jungle shows up mid. Bam. But the issue is also we could have run into the enemy jungle when we were walking into river. So that could have been an issue also. But obviously, if you're reviewing your own games and trying to figure out what you can do yourself, then it's going to end up being a situation where you're gonna have to figure it out, kinda. and do something about it. Wait, let me see. Is there like an interesting game? Like here. Okay, I think this game is interesting. Excuse me. Okay. So I'll just go through this real quick. And we can look at one of my games to just like make it more contextualized to yourself, basically, where I did something and you can do something. So I think this was like my master promo game. So yeah. So okay. So I'm playing against Nidalee, and the issue is, okay, I have a ward here, but I don't really have much vision in the river. I don't really have much vision on her jungle, and I don't really have very good lanes to help me. Like if I make Cortus or Zeri Yumi move, it's gonna just be like whatever, man. So okay, our first issue can be something like this, but like, okay, I could ping this, I guess. I could do that. Our problem is our mid lane is dying. I could also like counter gank it, but there was no real time to counter gank it, and he was going to try to cross the wave regardless of if I ping or not, right? Like, it's not like he's going to back off right now, though the only thing that he could do is just walk this way. So maybe pinging could have been good, right? Could have been good, actually. Maybe he walks towards me, and then he lives, and then whatever else. Okay, cool. Then after this, I just looked at where Nidalee is walking, because I wanted to know if she goes to her blue side or not. Because if she goes to her blue side, maybe I can even fight her. Like, a lot of junglers, basically, if the enemy jungle level 3 ganks, even if you're playing something like Evelynn, most games, you can kind of just kill them. Like, I'll show, like, an example or two after this. But then, okay, I told my Garen level 1 that I will level 3 gank top lane. And I wanted him to just like not waste my time and just go, right? So what I want here is when he goes for his maiden, but I could have pinged, right? What I want him to do is to, when I put charm on this guy, to just like flash, like Q flash, whatever, right? But if I ping him, then he's more ready to do it. And also, you could also say, okay, well, I could just wait for it, right? I didn't really want to play towards my blue side or her blue side because I'm not really sure where she is, and she's full HP Nidalee, and I don't like it in this matchup. Okay, and then instead I got mad, and I grief a bit. I'm just like, whatever, man. Let's die then. This is like the worst thing I could do, right? But we have a problem and we have a solution. Like, this part doesn't really matter because this is just like me being mad and just running in. Because I do this sometimes whenever I'm not happy. But the problem that I need to solve is, how do I make this, right, this play more likely to succeed? And if I can't make it succeed, then what else should I do, right? Obviously, the answer to this game is also I should get better vision level 1 and whatever, and I should ask my team for wards. But the main issue that I end up with in this game is that I don't communicate. I don't tell my team what I want them to ward. I don't tell my team what I want them to do, and so on. I don't tell my team where enemy jungle is or whatever. So it just becomes like not so good. Then I think this game. Yeah. Okay, let's just look at this real quick and then I'll end it. Okay. So, okay, we have Diana, who does like something. Does like 3 camps and shows up mid. Somehow. Yeah. She does 3 camps and she shows up mid lane. She ganked my Cortus. This time, I don't think that I should be here at all. I think that I could like tell him that she's there, and that would have been good. But other than that, I don't think I should really do anything different. That's what I think, at least. Because I don't think that this time his way was so messed up. But now, you see, Diana was like low HP because of Cortus. So because she's low HP and delayed on her clear, what ends up happening is that oftentimes you can just do some kind of a ward, or you can sit in this bush, or you can go around here, or whatever else, and you can just like kill them pretty much. Like this guy doesn't know I'm here, so he's pretty much just dead, right? He just dies. If he flashed, I just flash after him and he just dies, right? So when people get low, you can actually kill them, even on Evelyn Lake, and you shouldn't miss invades for no reason. But yeah, I think this should kind of give you an idea of how you should try to play out the replay reviews and what kind of things to look out for. Because you have to keep in mind also the difference between, say, like gold and master. It's mostly just the big mistakes. Like the mistakes you're going to end up seeing, like big obvious deaths or horrible positions in the lane or stuff like that. So if you can solve the big issues, then getting to stuff like master isn't too hard. And the problem is if you want to go above master, then obviously you're going to now have to focus on the details, which will be harder and more taxing mentally, because you're going to need to be really detail focused and take accountability for pretty much everything, right? But until that point, just doing some basic reviews should be fine. And if you incorporate some of these, just don't do it too much, don't overdo it, because you can also do it too much and just not really get much of a benefit from it. Just look at the key mistakes of your games, try to figure out what the problem was, what your solution can be, and then don't have a victim mindset where you're thinking, poor me, like these guys are griefing me and stuff. Like, I'll tell you straight up, it's not gonna happen more than 1 in 20 games where someone is actually like trying to grief. Most of the games people are just trying to win. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and comment what you'd like to see next time. See ya.